Here's the third pitch of the ball game, and it's hit down the right field line and pulled foul by Jimmy Rollins as we've jumped the gun a little bit. Our first pitch at 7:13, a couple of minutes before the scheduled 7:15 start. And here's the official Domino's first pitch of the game. Look at that baby, right in there at the knees. Here's a little floater out to left field. Over to get it, Chris Duncan. He's got it. That's how we start this series. A look at this very powerful Phillies lineup for Charlie Manuel. Jimmy Rollins in the leadoff spot has been struggling. Then Shane Victorino, the speedster, and Chase Utley. Ryan Howard, the St. Louisan here at Busch Stadium, outstanding numbers. Then Jason Worth, Raul Ibanez, Pedro Feliz, Carlos Ruiz, and Joe Blanton, the former A, is batting ninth and pitching for the Phillies tonight. Here's Victorino. You like to see that if he puts it up in the air. Thurston over. Also Tyler Green, and the shortstop has it in his St. Louis debut here at home. Two batters and two outs. Let's take a look at the Cardinals defense tonight. Behind Kyle Loge, as always, brought to you by Auto Tire. Duncan, Ankiel, and Ludwig in the outfield. Thurston and Green, Schumacher, Pujols along the infield. And the battery, it's been a good one for the last year and a half or so. Kyle Loge and Yadier Molina. The numbers on Loge brought to you by Marshall Wireless.
ERA, fifth best in the National League. 3-0, trying to run his record to 4-0. It'd be the first time in his career to start the season 4-0. And he's had good numbers against the Phillies.
67 degrees here in St. Louis. And this lineup, in the middle of the lineup, is potent. Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Jason Worth, Raul Ibanez, who they signed as a free agent. And at this point in time of the season, Chase Utley wasn't even supposed to be playing because of hip surgery.
Had hip surgery. He said he would be ready to play. And this is a guy that many people thought early in the season last year was going to be the favorite to win the MVP. But had a very quick response and started opening day for that hip surgery.
Take your choice. You could have Rollins, who's been an MVP. Ryan Howard has been an MVP. And some believe the best of the bunch is this guy right here, Chase Utley.
Well, he's not far off it. You know, Charlie Manuel will tell you that he's just a throwback player, good all-around player, only cares about playing baseball.
The 2-1 pitch, a little bit low and away, 3-1. And just like with the Cardinals hitting in front of Albert Pujols, you have Utley and the importance of trying to get him out and make sure that you don't see Ryan Howard come up with runners on. Howard is, we showed you there in the lineup, great numbers here in St. Louis. 12 home runs and 32 RBIs in his career against the Cardinals. This is popped up. Thurston is over and out of play. Charlie Manuel, congratulations to the young man from West Virginia as he picks up a World Series title, and it's been a long time coming for him.
Just down home, just nothing fancy about Charlie, but just a good old-fashioned baseball man, and if you get him aside, he is a funny character.
He's great to talk to, very pleasant, nice man. 8th season as a manager. He's been with the Indians. He went to postseason play with Cleveland and has done so now a few times with the Philadelphia Phillies, and finally got over the hump last year. 3-2 pitch to Utley, taken low. 2-out walk to Chase Utley, and here's Ryan Howard.
Thing you don't want to do with Howard coming up.
Smattering of applause for Ryan Howard from Lafayette High School and played at Southwest Missouri State, now known as Missouri State in the Missouri Valley Conference. You're seeing a different looking Ryan Howard. He's lost about 20-25 pounds from a year ago.
But off to a very good start.
And what they're saying is that, you know, he did not want to be just a one-dimensional player where people say, okay, later in his career, you're talking about a guy that has to play in the American League. And you can see that his body has changed. He had a great spring, and they say that now he's not worried about his contract situation either. So, you know, at times when he was always trying to put up the huge numbers with RBIs and home runs, that has gone away for trying just to hit for average and be a productive hitter and better defensive player.
Been an outstanding hitter when he's in his hometown or against the Cardinals. Ryan Howard has 24 RBIs in 15 career games in St. Louis. Almost a 370 lifetime average against the Cardinals with 12 home runs, 32 RBIs.
sure Bill Rowe is somewhere watching, if not here at the ballpark, the longtime baseball coach and athletics director at Missouri State, who just recently retired.
I knew that. I knew Bill Rowe had retired. And take effect this spring, or
he'll be part of the search for a new AD, and then that'll be in full effect come the fall and football season. 3 balls and 1 strike, and be careful here as Ryan Howard has 4 home runs already this season, and he's driven in 15. It's been he and Pujols. You talk about the first baseman in the National League. Howard rips it foul. Friendly competition between the two. They've become friends over the years. Albert Pujols and Ryan Howard, 2 of the best on display tonight.
like Albert's going to play behind Utley now on the 3-2 pitch. Fastball in, real open stance off the plate.
The 3-2 hit the other way. It's slicing, and this is foul. And that's something that he does so well at Citizens Bank Park, where the ball just flies out of that ballpark. But he almost just flipped the wrist, and you'll find a home run opposite field for these left-handed hitters.
Well, it was supposed to be a pitch inside. It was on the outer half of the plate, but it went foul. And you got to be careful as he's hitting from that open stance well off the plate, and the ball's out away from him, and he has that power to all field. You see, he just didn't have that good fluid swing. Trying back inside.
3-2 pitch, and he walked him.
Pretty good pitch right there.
I'm assuming a little bit low. Pretty tough pitch to take on 3-2. Back-to-back walks, and now it's Jason Worth.
Tim Wolf, our umpire, and it's not where he catches it, it's where it crosses the plate, and that's a strike.
Jason Worth is from this area, and he's hitting .250, a couple of home runs, and 11 RBIs. One thing about the Phillies, with the power that they have in this lineup with Utley, Howard, and the man on deck, Ibanez, they hit from the left side, so you can really balance your bullpen late innings against them. And that's why they need to have better numbers with Worth sandwiched between the two.
They have quality left-handers too.
Absolutely, and that's why you look at this series being very important for Trevor Miller and Dennis Reyes.
Right.
Speaking of bullpens, one of the best is Charlie Manuel's squad out there. They have been great this year and awesome last year. Lowe's will step and throw, gets out of an early jam. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first at Busch, and there's no score. Hitting .280, that's third best in the National League. We'll start things off with Skip Schumacher and then Joe Thurston. Last Friday against the Nationals, his first career home run. Then Pujols, Duncan, Ludwig, Ankiel, Molina, Green, and Loge. They're facing 28-year-old right-hander from Nashville, Tennessee, Joe Blanton. The first pitch is taken for a strike by Skip Schumacher, who's 1 for 3 against this righty in his career.
0-2 this year, 4-0 last year after coming over in the trade mid-season.
And those numbers brought to you by Marshall Wireless.
Faced the Cardinals last year, 7 innings, only allowed 1 run, a Ludwig home run, as he really painted the corners. But this year, much different, as he has really struggled trying to hit his spots. A lot of balls over the middle of the plate and a lot of base runners.
The 2-1 is tapped foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Last start for Blanton against Washington, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, and 4 to third. He threw 90 pitches and only 51 for strikes, and he gave up 3 home runs. And that's a called third strike on Skip Schumacher. So Blanton comes back to get the Cardinal leadoff man, and we take a look at the Phillies defense. They've committed only 4 errors this season. Feliz, Rollins, Utley, and Howard along the infield. Blanton and Carlos Ruiz. The battery tonight for the Phillies, and that's brought to you by Auto Tire. Here's Joe Thurston, who moves up into the second spot in this lineup. He's seen his average dip to 279, but he's in arguably the best spot in the lineup, hitting in front of Albert Pujols. We'll see pitches to hit.
A lot of times Tony will use that second spot to jumpstart a player. He was 3 for 18 on the recent road trip.
And he pulls that one foul. Crowd still filing into Busch Stadium here in St. Louis.
And the Cardinals were 4-2 on the road trip, but only hit .218 as a team. Now, they did have 6 home runs, including Thurston's first major league home run.
There's the breaking ball in the dirt. We also saw Colby Rasmus's first ever major league home run over the weekend against Washington.
Oddity in the Atlanta series, he had only 1 extra base hit.
This is tapped out in front of the plate. On it is Ruiz. He'll fire to Ryan Howard for the out. And quickly 2 outs, and it brings in Pujols. Cardinals are 5th in home runs and 1st in RBIs. And much of the damage has been done by big number 5, Albert Pujols. He should be fresh and ready to roll. Did not play Saturday, a scheduled off day for Pujols. And then the rainout yesterday in Washington, so essentially a 2-for-1 for him, and he should be ready to roll. Watch out. He gets rest. Normally he comes back with a vengeance.
Let's hope.
2 outs in the first pitch to him. He's popped up on the infield, now backing up to the outfield grass, Chase Utley, and he'll be called off by the right fielder, Jason Worth. The Cardinals go in order. Ibanez, Feliz, Ruiz, all coming up for the Phillies. Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. And by Auto Tire. For the lowest prices in town, choose Auto Tire. We shop the competitors so you don't have to. Raul Ibanez looks at a strike on the outside corner. Ibanez with very good numbers against tonight's starter Kyle Loge, 6 for 24, but the damage has been done with the long ball with 3 home runs against Loge. And he was the big free agent signing for the Philadelphia Phillies. He'll turn 37 on June 2nd. And it was kind of an eye-opener of a deal as they gave him 3 years and $31 million. Ibanez rips it to Pujols, fair ball. Albert casually flips it to Kyle Loge. And Albert was looking at his glove, and Loge threw it right by him to go around the horn.
Expected to go the other way, but see Albert off the line, well hit, reaches out, snares it, rights himself, and a little flip to his pitcher covering. Ibanez returned back to the National League. He's a good hitter.
And really, you know, his career didn't get started until his late 20s. Became an everyday player and really started contributing offensively. And here's Pedro Feliz, who's hitting .338, 2 home runs, and 15 RBIs. 3 for 9 against Loge in his career with a couple of doubles. Kyle Loge, originally signed by the Cubs, then traded to Minnesota, parts of 6 years there. He went 9-17 at Cincinnati. Then he was traded to the Phillies. He was 3-0 for Philadelphia. And now with St. Louis, he is 18-6.
And many people think there was a big mistake not signing, for the Phillies to not sign Loge. And at one point he thought he had a contract offer out there, a multi-year offer, but it fell through.
2-2 is pop foul.
Where would the Cardinals be if they didn't sign him on March 14th last year? Done a good job working with Dave Duncan, accentuating, working with that two-seam fastball, the sinking fastball, and get the ground balls.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Got him to chase and a strikeout for Kyle Loge, his first of the night. We get those great shots down in the dugout from our buddy James Boyd, who works in our crew, and James is not with us tonight. He's been dealing with pneumonia, so we wish him well. Need to get him back to the ballpark.
I mean, Tony, I'm surprised Tony is going to manage his game without his help from James.
And the first pitch to Carlos Ruiz, the 8th place hitter, is taken high. Last game for Loge, 6 shutout innings against Atlanta. That was on Tuesday night. Hit 4 walks, but that's a bit misleading because 3 of those were the unintentional, intentional variety to Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones was outstanding that game. Got a no decision.
And he was throwing up before the game, dealing with the stomach flu, throwing up early in the game, and also dealing with that sore right knee. The 2-1 pitch, a little bit high, 3-1.
With the possibility of rain yesterday, they had scratched Loge, and Kyle McClellan was going to make the start because they just didn't want to lose him if they got that game started.
And that's a base hit, the first of the night for either side. And it brings in Joe Blanton. Pitch that was up, and he was hammered on a 3-1 count.
Fastball kind of misses location a little bit higher in the zone that you would like, and 8th place hitter shows you why he's wearing a big league uniform.
Kyle Loge against his former team, the Phillies, 2-1 with an ERA that's just over 2. He's been very tough on the Phils. And here at Busch Stadium, he's now 12-3. He's already thrown a complete game this year here at Busch Stadium, and have to visit Yadier Molina. Loge knows what he's about to say and says, I got you.
Just kind of mechanics check.
You mentioned where would the Cardinals be? They signed the 30-year-old as a free agent last spring, March 14th. That's how late spring training the Cardinals got him.
That was only because Pinheiro went on the disabled list, which ended up being 4 Cardinal starters were on the disabled list to open last year's rotation.
I remember at one point last year, Kyle Loge threw about 106, 107 pitches, and I asked him, and he got through the game and he won the game, and I asked him how much off speed did you use that night, and he said I threw about 95 sinkers, and he was serious. I mean, he has gone to that sinker time and again. It's a lot of ground balls.
A former Cardinal pitcher that had possessed a very good sinker asked Dave Duncan one time, I said, why doesn't he throw 95% sinkers? And Dave said, well, sinkers and changeups. And so why does he throw curveballs and sliders? And he's no longer with the club. And he said because he felt like he's not a complete pitcher without throwing those broken balls, give the other team a chance to win.
2 strikeouts in the inning. Duncan leads it off when we return. Online shop of the Cardinals at STLCardinals.com, and you can browse the largest selection of authentic gear, including caps, t-shirts, jerseys, and more. Get your Cardinals gear straight from the source. Shop the STLCardinals.com shop today. And here is Duncan, who is in left field again tonight. You know, Joe Blanton, when you watch him throw, almost a little hitch in his delivery to the plate.
That kind of becomes disruptive to the timing of a hitter, a little deception.
Is it something where you think all of a sudden you get that timing if you're a hitter, and all of a sudden your weight has shifted to your front foot when you see that little hitch?
Well, that's what you got to guard against, but I think that's part of the design in it. You watch him come, and then a little hesitation.
And that is pulled foul off the bat of Duncan, who homered on the road trip. Take a look at the delivery here by Blanton.
Watch how he'll come set, and he kind of holds there, and then there's just a little glitch. Well, we found this. This is Jeff Murphy trying to imitate it, trying to give the Cardinals starting lineup a little look. So far, Blanton's had a little better stuff than Murphy.
And Feliz puts it away.
That may be hard to realize, but
Murph, that was Al saying that. I think you've got nasty stuff.
Well, no. I mean, the idea of a relief pitcher is to let them hit the ball, gain their confidence. So Murph is doing his job. Just said Blanton had a little better stuff.
And here is Ryan Ludwig. You think about the compliments to the big hitters in this game, Ryan Howard and Albert Pujols, and this is certainly one of them for the Cardinals. And that's Ryan Ludwig.
Ludwig 1 for 3 against Blanton. He hit a solo home run in that start a year ago where Blanton was so good.
And that's up and in. 2 balls and no strikes. Not many of these hitters have a history against Joe Blanton with his time in Oakland. 24th overall pick by Oakland in 2002 from the University of Kentucky, a Wildcat. Last year he made 33 starts combined between Oakland and Philadelphia and went 9-12. Take a look at the Firestone leaderboard here tonight, as Blanton was just 2 1/3 innings short of his third 200 inning campaign last year. And that's hit to short off the glove of the Gold Glover Jimmy Rollins and into left field.
Should be a base hit. Hit extremely hard. Rollins going to his left, and as you said, he's a multiple Gold Glove winner, so he doesn't come up with it. You got to assume that it's a base hit. One hopper just eats up Jimmy. Now he'll tell you he should have made this play, but kind of was going backwards, letting the ball play him, but it was hit extremely hard and scored a hit.
Rollins, a 2-time Gold Glove winner, and here's Rick Ankiel. He had a couple of dazzling plays on that road trip. The ball against the wall in Washington and the throw to try to double up the runner at first. That comes to mind. Also a game-saving catch at the time against Atlanta in left center.
Some of the good pitching we saw on that trip. Rick had a good series, or a good road trip. 318. 316, you know, when the team only hit 218.
Gap in the left center, and Rick gets underneath this one. And a shallow right. Jason Worth is there to make the catch. And there's 2 away, and it brings in Yadier Molina. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Evan Longoria and the Rays head to Fenway Park to take on David Ortiz and the Red Sox. A showdown between division rivals. It's Fox Saturday Baseball this weekend in high definition. Speaking of the Rays, they're the team, of course, that lost to the Phillies in the World Series. Joe manager at the time questioned the hat of tonight's starter, Joe Blanton, who won Game 4 of the World Series, also hit a home run in that game. The reason why is because the bite of his slider. He may have had another Kenny Rogers on our hands.
No, it's only hitters that cheat, Dan. Pitchers is trying to get the edge.
At the end of your career, how much did you try to cheat? Now you're thinking, all right,
I will be honest, and I flew to upstate Michigan and took a 3-day crash course from Phil Regan, one of the most religious men of that era, on how to throw the spitter.
And what happened? Did it work?
It worked in the field house in the wintertime.
And then that was
Didn't work outside. He used slippery elm throat lozenges, really slippery and tacky.
Yeah.
And sometimes the ball was dripping when I did it.
You struggled with the art of how much to use.
Yeah, how much to use, and the fact of trying to not throw something through a wall.
Julian Tavares had his hat for quite some time before anybody said anything. I mean, we would kid about it on the air about how dirty his hat was.
Sure, and why didn't anybody question it?
No one really questioned Klein. And Klein
well, no, because nobody wanted to get near it. Klein's.
Well, it started to walk when he got near it on its own. That was a disgusting part of the uniform, Steve Klein's hat.
It became a very popular fan giveaway.
Sure did.
The Klein hat replica. That was clean.
Opponents against Joe Blanton last year did not steal the base through his first 26 games against him last year. Very quick to the plate. And he works on the first base side of the rubber. Little slide step. He'll vary that as well. That's popped up on the infield. Who wants it? First baseman Ryan Howard takes it. The top of the lineup for the Phils coming up in the top of the third. Rollins, Victorino, and Utley. to this lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies. And let's take a look at our key to the game. Well, don't allow him to get on and score, because last year they were 42-15 when he did, and already this season they are 8-1. But Jimmy Rollins is really struggling right now, and he's hitting just 198 to start this season as he flied to left first time up.
True definition of a leadoff hitter are those graphics. Igniter. Of course, he's got the power to give you an instant 1-0 lead when he's leading off a game.
He was part of Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, and a lot of people felt he should have been the guy playing towards the end for the United States. Instead, it went to Derek Jeter. And most people point to a younger and maybe arguably better player. And it kind of gives you an idea, though, of how the Americans approached the World Baseball Classic as opposed to some of the other countries. More of an exhibition, it seemed like, for Team USA.
Good point.
Here's a ground ball. Schumacher has to be quick, and he is. Makes the play. Now, he is working on that time and again. When you come to the ballpark, Jose Oquendo will go out with a fungo bat right by Kyle Lowe's, where he's standing on the mound, and just fire balls to his right and to his left and tells him to be quick.
Backhand, it really didn't have his footwork down there. He's a little, flat-footed, a little complicated. Didn't really take that proper crow hop, but we've talked about how he can slow things up a little bit because of his superior throwing arm, and it came into play there.
And our Exmo Cam during the homestand is presented by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. 1 block south of the ballpark on Broadway. Here's Shane Victorino. Victorino, an outstanding postseason a year ago for the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies finished up 92-70 in first place in the National League East, and their second world championship in 125 years.
Don't you get a feeling a couple years ago you kind of thought he was, a 4th or 5th outfielder, but boy, he is 1 year over.
Speed and defense gives you that element, combined with Rollins. Put some pressure on that opposing team.
A very nice overall game, and can do a lot of things to help you win.
The Phillies, known for their power, they play the fewest games so far in the league at 22, but tied for the lead in home runs. Phillies have hit 31. Thurston over, slides. Watch out, Joe. Great effort from Thurston, and he pops right back up. Fans applaud that. Well, you hear that all the time from the opposing players. If that was the Phillies third baseman, Feliz, you would have heard the same ovation.
Sure, and appreciate the effort.
Great effort.
I was probably hearing a little bit from the Phillies because he spent some time in their organization.
2-2 with 1 out, nobody on. Good pitch on the inside corner. Strikes out Shane Victorino, his 3rd of the night. Does the opposing team help you when you go by their dugout? The Exmo Cam, presented by Hot Shots.
They like you, but they aren't going to help you. That's Jamie Moyer. And then you get painted right on the inside part of the plate. Standing right on top of it. And very good pitch by Loesch for his 3rd strikeout.
And here is Chase Utley. The Barton-Thurston combination with Troy Glaus out has been outstanding. 16 runs, 19 RBIs. Of course, Thurston is only 28. Before this year, 28 big league games for the Cardinal third baseman. And by now you've probably heard the story. 4th round pick by the Dodgers back in 1999, and at one point their organization's minor league player of the year.
Bounced around with several organizations, but I think 4 different times he got a cup of coffee.
I've talked to Barton about it. He said, Al, that they have a friendly competition because both guys have paid their dues in the minor leagues, but they played against each other in the Pacific Coast League. Talking about Joe Thurston and Brian Barton, he said, we really do genuinely pull for each other to stay here, produce, and have a solid year. There's Pujols again, makes the play. Steps on the bag, leaves Howard on deck. Tyler Green leads it off when we come back. No score. Tyler Green, the 8th place hitter, followed by Kyle Loge and then Skip Schumacher. But Tony La Russa in that original lineup as Green hits it to third. Nice play by Feliz. But in yesterday's game, he had the pitcher batting 8th. And he's only done that one other time this season. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By Aflac, we got you under our wing. And by the Casino Queen, home of the loosest slots.
Interesting about that, but Tony says he bats the pitcher 8th when he thinks runs are going to be a problem, having trouble scoring. That has not been the case this year. This offense has been very good. 3rd in batting average, 2nd in runs scored.
I want to say congratulations to our buddy Kelly Chase, former Blue, who calls St. Louis home, and his team, the Bandits, won their 3rd consecutive national championship. Congratulations to Kelly, and they'll be honored on this homestand here at Busch Stadium.
That's great.
Well, the real good guys in town, gives a lot of his time and efforts to charity. And Loge hit by the pitch. That's his left arm, I believe, that got hit.
Yep. They're not happy about it.
Greg Hawk is out to check on Kyle Loge.
Ball just took off right in the elbow, and that absolutely hurts, whether it's your pitching arm or not. Get hit right there in the elbow, and that arm goes numb.
And you file that one in the back of your mind, huh? Tony La Russa out with Greg. Dave Duncan watching intently. By the way, the Cardinals have made a move before today's game. If you're just joining us, Brad Thompson has been recalled. P.J. Walters sent down. And Brad had very good numbers as a starter. Now he's in the bullpen right now for Tony La Russa. Brad had 15 2/3 as a starter, struck out 9, walked 1. Has not thrown since April 27th, so he's fresh.
And his pitch count up to about 80 pitches. So, you know, his primary role will be as a long man.
Skip Schumacher struck out his first time up.
The role's a long man. We hope we never use you.
And if we do,
as a long man.
And if we do, because sometimes you come into a game that you're winning by a lot, like PJ was the other night, throw strikes.
Better. Or you get frequent flyer miles.
Up and down, back and forth. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Loge is running. And that's line foul. Thought the Cardinals may do that. Carlos Ruiz, this ball looked like it skipped through his legs and Loge didn't pick it up.
This is the pass ball and it gets through there, but you see he's already going back to the bag. And then he saw that there was a separation between the ball and the catcher. It was too late at that time.
Ryan Howard playing behind the pitcher, running at first. Loge. There's a broken bat. Blanton knocks it down. I don't know how he saw that. Exploding bat coming back at him. And he was able to pick up the ball. They have got to do something about these bats before somebody gets hurt. A fan, a player, whatever the case may be. Wow, that is scary. Don't miss Bud Light T-shirt night Friday, May 15th at 7:15. Milwaukee will be here, and the first 25,000 fans ages 21 and over receive a Bud Light Cardinals T-shirt. For tickets, go to stlcardinals.com. That bat just exploded. Give Blanton credit for staying with it.
Knowing which was the ball and which was the barrel.
There's Joe Thurston with a runner at second base. By the way, we've had some fans, ask us about Josh Kenny. Kenny has pitched 6 2/3 since he's been sent down. He's walked 5 and given up 5 runs, all earned. Trying to get him straightened out at AAA Memphis. The guy that's been a little bit of a pleasant surprise has been Jess Todd, who already has 5 saves.
That's a very good slider, but some people question, is it a good enough pitch at the major league level? Obviously good enough at AAA.
And Joe Thurston takes a pitch on the outside corner. Joe Blanton started the clincher over Milwaukee. Homered in one game for the World Series against Tampa Bay. That's slicing. That could be trouble. It is. It's a fair ball. Pops over the wall. And it's a ground rule double. The run will score. And Joe Thurston delivers with 2 outs to make it 1-0. Nice piece of hitting.
That's how to make that hit by pitch pay. And Thurston, this ball just going to keep on slicing away from him out there. Another double and his 13th RBI. Thurston led all National League rookies in RBIs as Barton led in home runs and batting average in the month of April.
And again, Barton and Thurston now combined with 20 RBIs on the year, the 2 rookies. Let's see how the Phillies pitch to Pujols, or if they do it all with first base open. 2 outs and a 1-0 pitch on the black, but called a ball 2-0.
They're going right after him. He's falling behind in the count. But Albert is 0 for 3 in his lifetime against Blanton.
And that's in the dirt. 3 balls and no strikes.
3-0, you kind of say, why even throw a pitch? Just put out the 4 fingers.
Brett Myers will get the start for the Phillies tomorrow. Adam Wainwright for St. Louis. Cole Hamels has been pushed back to Friday at Citizens Bank Park. There's that slider, and did he go? No. It's a walk. And that is the first walk issued by Blanton. And it brings in Chris Duncan. The Phillies were very cautious with their big lefty Cole Hamels, so he'll pitch against the Braves on Friday night at home. Threw a long toss today out in center field, but he talked about a couple of things that he has to be able to do. He's been dealing with a sprained ankle. He said, I have to be able to field my position, and also if I bunt, I've got to be able to run to first. And right now I can't do those things with my ankle, and he's been dealing with injuries. And there's a look at Cole Hamels. He missed time in March. He had an elbow situation, so he missed opening night. Then Prince Fielder ripped a line drive off his shoulder, had to leave that game, and now the sprained ankle. That slowly hit to second. Pujols causes the problem. Now a play at the plate, and they run out of the inning. Pujols gave Utley all kinds of fits on that ground ball, distracting him. It would have been bases loaded for Ludwig. Thurston trying to be aggressive like he was the other night. This time it doesn't pay off. Slugger Ryan Howard rips one to center field with the shift on. Couple of hops out there to Rick Ankiel, and the leadoff man is on. Go back to the last play and watching Albert Pujols, the little things that he does in a game.
Look at him timing there, trying to disrupt the second baseman perfectly as Utley comes in, but the veteran, and he is an outstanding player, much aware of the situation. They charge him in air, but he looks up, he sees Thurston as Oquendo's trying to hold him at third base, runs through the stop sign and runs into an out.
Would have had bases loaded and Ludwig up, and that's ball one to Jason Worth.
Of a hanging breaking ball that Ryan Howard just flipped into center field.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Worth. I know you and I were very pleased for Charlie Manuel. Wins the World Series last year. Son of a Pentecostal preacher, Charles Sr. from West Virginia. And this is well hit out to right center field and out of here. In opposite field, home run for Jason Worth. His third of the season. And it's RBIs 12 and 13. And just like that, the Phillies on top 2-1 as they add now to their National League lead with their 32nd home run of the year.
Well, they've hit 32 home runs now. Their pitching staff has allowed 43. And right there, pitch up over the middle of the plate. Not far enough away, and Jason Worth with very good power takes it to the opposite field, and right now the Phillies have that lead.
Here's Raul Ibanez. And he looks at a strike. Ibanez already with 8 home runs.
And that home run is only the second allowed by Kyle Loesch, the 7th allowed by the Cardinals starting pitching.
There's a line out to Thurston for the first out. Another look at the home run, an opposite field shot.
Ball was up a little bit. Molina set up away. You see him kind of reach the glove up towards the middle of the plate a little bit. Arms extended, and then he follows through with the wrist and stroked that ball very well and effectively to the opposite field.
So with one out, here is Pedro Feliz. To finish up the thought on Charlie Manuel, though, he He was a guy that had to grow up in a hurry as his father committed suicide, and Charlie, the third of 11 children, and he was the oldest son, and he basically helped raise that family financially, emotionally, spiritually, all the things you can think of. And he had offers to go play basketball in college, but because of his situation with his family, he turned those down. And all of a sudden he had to turn pro in 1963. He was drafted by the Twins, and he signed for $20,000.
Big money back in '63, and of course played with the Twins. Afterwards he had a long successful career in Japan.
They loved him in Japan,
yep.
And he said that changed his life. Become more of a team-oriented player, not just about him, that there was other things going on in the world outside of Charlie Manuel.
Yep, 5th season with the Phillies, long time with Cleveland. He had guys like Manny Ramirez and all those kind of guys early in their career, and has that ability to get along with about everyone.
There's a breaking ball and a foul ball. He himself has survived a heart attack. He's had quadruple bypass surgery. He's had cancer. And here he is. He survived to tell you about it, and enjoys and just loves being around young people in the game of baseball.
And he survived the city of brotherly love.
And he was booed, and they thought, wait a minute, who is this guy? In a tough media town. And he's got that southern drawl, so to speak, and you listen to him, and he's kind of slow in how he delivers when he addresses the media.
He'll kind of tell you what he thinks.
Absolutely.
In his own way. He can handle himself.
And they were screaming, Charlie, Charlie. They were so happy for him, and how quickly things turn when you win.
Oh, yeah.
A great story, though. Man that's given his life to baseball and finally picked up that World Series championship. 3-2 to Pedro Feliz. And he pulls it foul. He said this was his greatest moment. Brad Lidge closed it out. And the Phillies, along with the Fanatic in the dugout, have won themselves a championship.
Well, I remember when he was here last year. Knew he had a good ball club, but he questioned, do we have enough pitching? Blanton came on the scene. He was 4-0. All of a sudden, you know, that Brad Lidge never blew a save. J.C. Romero, who was serving a 50-game suspension, was anchoring things from the left side of the bullpen.
Thurston, long throw to Albert. 2 outs. Ticket Fest is back at McDonald's, and the Cardinals Ticket Fest promotion is offering fans great ticket deals when you purchase one of 4 extra value meals at your St. Louis Metro East McDonald's. Stop by a participating McDonald's today. Their bullpen was fantastic a year ago.
Oh, that's right. And I mean, that's key. When you have leads, can you close them out? Brad Lidge did not blow a save. What, 41 for 41?
I was looking at the numbers for J.C. Romero, as you talked about, now serving that suspension. He was so tough on lefties. They only hit 102 against him in 111 plate appearances a year ago.
And, you know, he is suing the manufacturer of some over-the-counter.
Tyler Green gets up to first. He got him! Oh, what a terrific play from the rookie Tyler Green.
The 2-run home run, but it could have been worse without Tyler Green's spectacular play to get Ruiz by a whisker right at the first base bag to end it. Look at how far he goes into the hole. Backhands it here. Now he's got to get to his feet, stop his momentum sliding, and then throw over the top.
Here is Ludwig. First pitch upstairs. What might have been if Joe Thurston stays at third base. You would add bases loaded, 2 outs for Ludwig. Instead, the Cardinals were out of the inning. And now they trail 2-1. That bullpen is picked up right where they left off from a year ago. Well, the Philadelphia Phillies, the best in Phillies history, they said. They had an ERA collectively of 3.22 last year. And in save situations for the Phillies, which includes hold opportunities for the setup men, the ERA was under 3. That's more than a half run better than the next team, which was LA. That wins you games.
Absolutely. And remember, they're playing in a very small ballpark. Plays extremely small there, so leads can evaporate very quickly. Very impressive what they did a year ago.
Phillies blew a nationally low 15 saves and were 65-7 when leading after 5 innings. Well, Thursday night, this aggressiveness paid off for Tony La Russa and the Cardinals. This is Joe Thurston. You might remember this. Ankiel would score. The ball would get away from Zimmerman, and Thurston would score from second on the drop by Flores. Tonight, though, not as lucky.
Really wasn't looking as he came into third base and never saw Oquendo holding him at the third base bag, create the bases loaded situation.
And that's pulled foul. I know you can appreciate what Brad Lidge did a year ago. 47 consecutive saves dating back to the 2007 season. 54 consecutive. You include the postseason, and he finally had a blown save this year, the 18th of April against San Diego. That is just amazing.
Yeah, he's been dealing with some knee issues, and he had surgery in spring training, but apparently he's available tonight.
And Ankiel strikes out. A rising fastball from Blanton. The Bank of America All-Star Pin Pack features 5 games for the price of 4, including a Cubs game, plus a collectible set of 5 All-Star lapel pins, each featuring St. Louis's historic All-Star past. So get your All-Star Pin Pack today at STLCardinals.com.
Speaking of the Cubbies, today they put Zambrano on the disabled list with a hamstring problem.
And that's in there for a strike to Yadier Molina.
And that upcoming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, May 19th through the 21st against the Cubbies, there's tickets available for all those night games.
Yeah, we were told that as far as a Cup Series in St. Louis and ticket availability, this is one of those series that has been not selling as quickly as in years past. So plenty of very good seats available for that series. Into shallow right center field. Worth is called off by Victorino. He'll put it away. We played 4 here at Busch, and it's 2-1 Phillies. On ESPN. Sunday night baseball. The Cubs, the Cardinals, one of the great rivalries in all of sports and certainly here in the National League. The former Cub, Todd Wellemeyer, on the mound for St. Louis. And the Cardinals, behind Jason Isringhausen picking up the save, would win it 5-3. And there's a look at Todd Wellemeyer. And there's a look at the strike. The knees to Joe Blanton. Blanton here, and then Jimmy Rollins and Shane Victorino.
Todd won his last time out, and I think we're going to see him get on a roll now.
Al Raboski, the Mad Hungarian, alongside. I'm Dan McLaughlin. It's 2-1. The world champions here in the fifth. They lead St. Louis. You see on that jersey, top of the Phillies, across the chest, HK for Harry Callis, longtime broadcaster in Philadelphia. And if there's a city that understands what the fans are going through in the city of Philadelphia, it's us right here in St. Louis. We, of course, lost the late, great Jack Buck.
Callis, one of the original voices of the Colt 45s, and then been with Philly since '71.
And that's 4 strikeouts for Kyle Loesch here tonight. That's from a feature that I conducted with Harry Callis a few years ago. Some of the behind-the-scenes work that he did at the old Busch Stadium, and that's at the old vet.
And the voice of NFL films.
He was so gracious to us, Al, and in doing that piece and making sure that we got the right footage from the folks at NFL Films to put that together. That's up the middle and a base hit. Into center field off the bat of the struggling Jimmy Rollins. And now he becomes a threat at the top of this lineup with his great speed.
He has 1 steal and 3 attempts this year, and Loesch quick to the plate and pays attention over there. You almost welcome him to try and run against Molina.
The Phillies on the road so far this season, they are 6-2 and 50-39 since the start of the 2008 season. Only 5 teams have a winning road record. There's a throw to first. Oh, and he almost got him. That would have been the 29th time that Molina would have picked off a base stealer. And those two, it's a design play. Little signal from Albert or Yadier Molina. And many times what we'll see is a runner in front of Jimmy Rollins, and Pujols sneak in behind the runner at first in the element of surprise.
Jimmy looked like he had the desire to run on that previous pitch, but didn't quite have the jump he wanted, but get out there a little far. And that's why I think even if the play was not on, Molina noticed that. And Albert's always aware of a throw behind.
Another check on the runner, Jimmy Rollins, the former MVP, and a threat to steal over there at first base. Philadelphia Phillies, 22 of 25 players return from their World Series team from a year ago. The biggest one that did not return, Pat Burrell. And he's with the team that they beat, Tampa Bay. And there's a base hit into right field. Rollins will stop at second base. And here come the Phils, first and second. 1 out. Some big bats coming up.
Sometimes you pay too much attention to a base stealer that you don't have the concentration to the hitter. And another ball that starts up, finishes belt high over the middle of the plate, and Victorino hits it.
We're talking about the steals. Certainly think about that with these two guys on base. But 6 steals yesterday by Carl Crawford. Now 17 of 17 as he did that against Boston. Speedster from Tampa Bay.
Said he wasn't aware that he tied the major league record.
And Utley is hit by the pitch. And here comes the St. Louisan, Ryan Howard. And boy, has he done some damage to the team that he grew up rooting for, and out to visit is Dave Duncan. This could be your ball game right here, as crazy as that sounds, here in the 5th with the bases loaded and a former MVP stepping in.
No, it's not crazy at all.
Cardinal fans on Saturday, May 16th, 25,000 fans ages 16 and up will receive a Cardinals baseball cap to wear all season long, courtesy of U.S. Cellular. So get your tickets today by calling 314-345-9581 or visiting STOCardinals.com. Now, Barry Weinberg, the Cardinal trainer, is out to visit.
Hey, he's talking to Molina.
Make sure everything's all right there. So here is Howard. 13 for 26 are the Phillies with the bases loaded this season, the best in baseball. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Ryan Howard. This also could be a shift in the game if you get out of this jam.
That's right. A week ago, he hit his 6th career grand slam. If you hit a ball on the ground, you'd like to think you're going to be able to turn 2.
The outfield is deep for Howard. The Philly slugger, a swing and a miss and a good pitch. Seeking action on that first pitch. Howard tonight has walked when Loge walked 2 in the first, and he singled and scored on the 2-run homer by Jason Worth.
Good changeup right there. The base hit was a first pitch breaking ball up out over the plate.
The 0-1 pitch to Howard. We've had that shift out when you talk about Ryan Howard being up in the Cardinals defense.
Well, not typically like they want, but they got to be in position to get force plays. So still well off the line at third.
And time called, 1 ball, 1 strike. Lafayette High School, Missouri State, Major Leagues. They cleared out Jim Thome to make room for this guy, Ryan Howard.
Trevor Miller up in the Cardinals bullpen, one of their 2 lefties.
And a 1-1 pitch. And Howard cranks it into deep right field. Grand slam over the Cardinal bullpen, and he busts this game wide open. Grand slam for the St. Louisan, Ryan Howard. The inning started with a strikeout, a base hit by Rollins, base hit Victorino, Utley hit by the pitch, and no doubt about it.
Ryan knew it was out. But Jimmy Rollins knew it was out, and unfortunately, so did Kyle Loesch.
And all of a sudden, it's 6-1 in favor of the world champions. 7th career grand slam for Howard. Reaction of Kyle Loesch following 1 swing of the bat here tonight.
Throw a pitch like this, you know he just gave up a long ball.
And that's belted into left. Off the wall, played very nicely by Duncan. Little hesitation by Worth, but he's in standing up at second base. And nobody was covering second base.
Well, Duncan got to it so quickly. I think everyone was assuming that it would take him some time, but he plays the carom perfectly. He spins and gets it into second where he should. But the infielders were playing it for the throw to come to third. But he's got his back to it, and he got to it so quickly that he threw it where he should have done. And Miller warming up. The Banez, it looks like Tony has seen enough of Kyle Loesch.
And the problem right now, if you're the Cardinals and thinking about coming back in this game, the outstanding bullpen of the Philadelphia Phillies. Loesch, a short outing here tonight, gives up 4 runs on 1 swing of the bat here in the 5th to make it 6-1. Our Chevy called to the bullpen. Here comes Trevor Miller. These different pitchers, and some of these guys need work.
Well, everybody needs work because no one pitched Saturday or Sunday when we had the rain out. And you can see even Mott, who threw 18 pitches on Friday, should be well rested, as well as Boyer. And then you got guys like Franklin and Reyes, Thompson, who was just recalled, that all need work. But it's Trevor Miller coming out right now. He's appearing for the 9th time. The lefties are off to a very good start. He's allowed just 2 hits in his 19 lefties that he's faced, and he's only walked a batter.
And of course, he knows about the Phillies last year in the World Series. Trevor, part of the Tampa Bay Rays in 08. Stranded 84% of inherited runners. That was 4th best in the major leagues last year. And both lefties, as you've talked about, Al, have done a really fine job against left-handed batters. That's been a bright spot out there.
Recognizing Trevor is a guy that's really a situational. You're going to let him face really one lefty and then possibly removing him. Blaine Boyer is now warming up behind Miller.
And Boyer has been a pleasant surprise lately.
He sure has. You know, they've revamped his windup. They changed him from a 4-seam fastball pitcher to a 2-seam sinking fastball, and it's worked very well for him.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Trevor Miller. A little bit low and outside. Raul Ibanez is grounded out to first and also lined out to third. Did not become an everyday player until he was 29. Now, he has missed only 16 games over the last 4 seasons, none last year with the Mariners. Talking about Ibanez.
He became that everyday player once he went to Seattle.
He says jiu-jitsu has made a difference for him with his flexibility and his strength. Started doing that in 2007.
Made a difference for you too, hadn't it?
Just found myself in great shape lately. You and I have really worked out hard on the road, Al, as our jiu-jitsu trainer has traveled with us. 2-2.
Hand signs you developed. I can't believe that you can.
So Ibanez
raise your hand on an airplane as many times as you do.
Well, Ibanez was signed to replace Pat Burrell. 9 seasons wearing that Phillies uniform and hit 251 home runs. There's the check swing. He went.
Kind of interesting, though. You know, Pat Burrell was a right-handed hitter, and Ibanez the lefty, and Miller gets him with the strikeout. And they've got such a predominant left-hand hitting team.
Well, what is the latest into a season the Cardinals have gone without being shut out? Back in 1987, a team that would eventually lose to Minnesota in the World Series, 113 games. 2 outs and a runner at second for Pedro Feliz. Miller's spot is due up second for the Cardinals. Looking ahead to the bottom of this 5th inning. 6-1 Phillies. Ryan Howard's grand slam, the difference. Ryan Howard now with 13 home runs and 36 RBIs and hitting close to 375 in his career against the Cardinals. Here in St. Louis now with that home run. 7 home runs and 28 RBIs at the Busch Stadiums. Into center and caught as Hank Hill almost overran it. Ryan Howard, grand slam, his 5th home run of the season over the bullpen in right. 6-1 Philly. It's 6-1 Philadelphia. And here is Tyler Green following his outstanding play. And on the first pitch, he'll fly out to right. Well, this date in baseball history, we talked about the Cardinals and the Cubs in Sunday Night Baseball. How about this play from Yadier Molina from his knees?
Well, that was last year, but we've also got a Mike Matheny as the ball gets away, as he covers plate, but Mike goes ahead and gets the out at first base. So two nice throws by Cardinal catchers, current and most recent.
Here is Khalil Green, the pinch hitter for Trevor Miller. Miller got the final 2 outs in the top half of the 5th. And now Blanton really can settle in with his 5-run lead.
You could tell this was unlike his performance this year, that he is hitting his spots very little down the middle. I mentioned that the Cardinal starters prior to tonight had only given up, as a collective group, 6 home runs. Blanton has given up 6 home runs already. And tomorrow's starter, Myers, has given up 7. But Blanton coming in had 20 in the 3rd innings and had allowed 40 base runners.
And opponents coming into this ball game were hitting .371 against him. Cracked the major leagues back in 2004. He made 3 starts. 05 he was 12-12. As Green will fly out to left. 06 was his best year, which he went 16-12, 14-10 in 07, and then last year 9-12 combined. But he got hot right at the right time. You got to have that postseason play. The Cardinals had that with Jeff Weaver.
Yep, that's when you do it, then parlay it into a nice contract. Skip's in a little bit of a rut right now.
0 for 2. He was called out on strikes back in the first and grounded back to Blanton his 2nd time up.
Rough road trip.
That's slicing and a base hit. That's a fair ball. Over to get it, Ibanez, and Skip will stay put at first as the ball got away, but nowhere to go. He could have had a bases loaded situation with Ludwig. That didn't materialize, and the Phillies took advantage of theirs.
That's right. A little fastball down and away, and when you're struggling, go to the opposite field. It's only his 5th hit in his last 25 plate appearances.
And here is Joe Thurston, who is 1 for 2.
Heck away.
RBI double.
Back away, see if he can get a couple hits here with 2 outs and get a run closer.
For those of you that have read Billy Beane's Moneyball, Joe Blanton is one of the pitchers that's mentioned in Moneyball. And he was asked about that before, and he said, I'm actually honored that the GM would put me in that book. And what they try to preach with Oakland is pitch to contact. Don't worry so much about strikeouts, but pitch to contact, go deep into games, be efficient as you possibly can. 2 balls and 1 strike. When he was climbing through the minor leagues, he jumped from AA to AAA, and when he was at AA, his pitching coach said he wasn't allowed to throw anything but a fastball and a slider in his first 2 innings of work. No changeups, no forkball, nothing else. Just work on those pitches. And then after that, work on the changeup. And then there'd be a start after that. He'd say, well, fastball, changeup. That's all I want you to do. Just work on the pitches.
Well, that's when you're trying to develop and not worrying so much about the results. But, you know, a lot of people believe that first time through the order, you should establish your fastball.
Two is pulled foul. Again, he won his first start a year ago against the Cardinals wearing this Phillies uniform. 7 innings in that game and 4 hits allowed. And Thurston takes a ball. It's 3-2. Now this is where it gets interesting. You know he's going to get a pitch to hit with Pujols on deck.
They're going to play behind Schumacher, so he's going to get a good jump.
Got a 5-run lead here. You don't want to have Pujols have a chance to give the Cardinals in one swing of the bat right back in this game.
Be selective. Get a pitch. Drive it.
And there's the base hit. Schumacher will stay put at second. First and second now. 2 outs for Albert Pujols.
That's how you get back in the ball game.
Thurston is 2 for 3. Pujols is walked tonight, also flied out to right. With runners in scoring position, he gets even better. 429, 4 home runs, and 21 RBIs.
That's a real strength of the entire ball club, hitting with runners in scoring position.
Two outs, and it's first and second.
As a team, the Cardinals lead the major leagues with a .335 batting average, with runners in scoring position, led by Albert.
Well, most teams opposing bullpens sit on that back bench. Not the Phillies. They get together and move up to the front portion of the bullpen. A slider in the dirt. All cramped together out there. How comfortable that can be in that bullpen.
You can see out there, you know, if you're back on the bench, you've got that sign back there. Now the Cardinals are sitting up on top, and then they can see over the Ford sign. Get a better view of the whole stadium when you sit out in front.
1 for 7 in this spot. 1-0 pitch. Pujols rips it out to left and caught. Hits a bullet to Ibanez. And the Cardinals strand 2. A frustrated Albert Pujols as he hit a rocket right to the left fielder. We're at 6-1 Phillies. They picked up 2 in the 4th inning on a Jason Worth home run. And on one swing of the bat, a grand slam by Ryan Howard. And it's 6-1 Phillies leading St. Louis. And here's Blaine Boyer, who takes over for the Cardinals here in the 6th.
Very good. His last 2 times out. When he came over to the Cardinals, he hadn't pitched in about 10 days. Little rusty. Been working with Marty Mason, bullpen coach, on flat ground, revamping his motion. He will only pitch out of the stretch now, simplifying it, and has become a 2-seam fastball pitcher.
And here is Carlos Ruiz, 8th place hitter, followed by the pitcher Blanton, and then Jimmy Rollins.
And Blaine had never thrown the 2-seamer, the sinking fastball. He's got a very good breaking ball. It's a ground ball pitcher.
And there's Tyler Green again to his left, and Ruiz is thinking, get that guy out of here. I talked to Marty Mason today, Al, about his journey into professional baseball. It's an interesting story, and you're right, he's done a great job with that bullpen, in particular Blaine Boyer. His junior college coach, Q.V. Lowe, was also in the Yankee system as a coach for rookie ball. And so he called back to Western Kentucky. Marty pitched in junior college, then went to Western Kentucky. He called back, and Marty just happened to be in the office, and the junior college coach was trying to set up some ball games exhibition-wise, Western Kentucky and his junior college. So he picks up the phone, and there's 3 weeks left in the minor league season. Marty, how you feeling? I feel great. He says, we're running out of arms. You want to sign a 3-week contract? He said, you can put it on your resume. It would be great. Say you played professional ball and you pitched, and what a way to get a job to have the Yankees on your resume. Well, then that turned into coming to the Cardinals organization, and Jim Riggleman was his manager. And we saw Jim in Washington, and basically he said after his time in the minor leagues, Jim Riggleman went to him and said, look, you've got a chance to be a great coach. Do you want to do it? And he said, I'm looking to stay in professional baseball any way I can. And so Marty Mason stayed in the Cardinals system, and boy, did he pay his dues. 16 years as a coach in the minor leagues, and then eventually was called up with Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan. Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark, the only hotel that gives you home field advantage and an extraordinary Cardinals baseball experience. 421-1776 to find out more. But Marty Mason spent all that time in the minor leagues, and here he is in the majors.
And that's not uncommon. That's old school stuff, where, you know, it wasn't so much the teachers in the minor leagues were guys that were ex-major league players, but they were guys that played a long time or paid their dues for decades in the minor leagues with some of the best teachers. And I know there was one year when Marty was playing professionally and closing, and had a very good season as a closer in the low minor leagues.
And you ask Marty now, he'll tell you, I had no chance. This is the only way I was going to get to the big leagues, is to be a coach. Rollins, a couple of hops to second. Schumacher is there. Blaine Boyer does it again, a 1-2-3 inning. 6-1 midway through 6. The difference is drinkability. And tomorrow's starter for the Cardinals will be Adam Wainwright. We're on the air with the pregame show at 6:30, and it's our Bud Light What's on Tap. Adam making his 6th start of the season tomorrow. And 2-0 in his career with a 1.76 ERA in 5 games. 3 of those have been starts against the Fightin' Phils. And here is Duncan. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joe Blanton has settled in quite nicely against the Cardinals here at Busch Stadium.
Doing a very good job. Like his other start, where he went 7 innings and allowed just 1 run. By far pitching his best game of the season.
Up and in to Duncan. 3 balls and 1 strike. I mentioned earlier that he homered in the World Series, the first Phillies pitcher to do that. Steve Carlton homered for the Phillies in the playoffs. It's fouled back, full count. Cardinals missing 2 lefties in this brief 2-game series. Cole Hamels and the other being Jamie Moyer. Jamie Moyer at 249 wins. That is just amazing.
What's his age?
46. He's now 46 and 249 career wins. Fox Sports Midwest is now on Facebook and Twitter. Become a fan of Fox Sports Midwest on Facebook and see Cardinals video and photos, Twitter, and all the news. Cal Eldred, I think you call it tweeting. Tweeting, Pat tweeting, Jim Hayes tweeting.
Tweeting or Tweety?
Tweeting, I believe.
Oh, I thought you thought they were Tweety. Speaking of that, I got to thank my good friends Jerry McNeil and the Reptile House.
That's a heck of a segue there.
Steve Bircher, you know, the head curator of the mammals, and Angela of the sea lions. I got to escort. I was one of the chaperones for my granddaughter Lena's field trip to the zoo. And Jerry McNeil brought out some of the reptiles and snakes, took us a back tour there. Steve Bircher showed us the new lions cub or tiger cubs. A couple of new lions, a male and a female, back in the animal house back underneath. Do a great job. I mean, the St. Louis Zoo, you can't, what a treasure we have.
Now, you know, Jerry McNeil has a little history here in the game of baseball.
Yes, he has the best, world's greatest collection of World Series. You know, you think of the World Series rings today, but at one time, he goes way back prior to rings, where they were either watches or tie tacks or all kinds of things.
And that's a little bit low. Matter of fact, Bill DeWitt, the Cardinals president, actually, you know, spoke to Jerry about the 2006 rings and also the 04 rings. About some of the history of the ring and the arches on that 2006 championship ring.
And I talked to Ryan Howard on behalf of Jerry McNeil about photographing his new World Series ring.
Did you see him? I didn't see him.
No, I haven't seen it, but you know, his collection is unbelievable. I've got stuff that he had down back in the 40s with Stan Musial.
And that hit and kill on the foot, I believe. So again, the Cardinals will have a couple of runners on. From our vantage point, looked like he got hit on the foot. We'll see here, maybe a little bit higher.
Around the knee.
Oh, yeah.
Just see the hand leg just kind of shiver a little bit. That's the kind of way you want to be hit.
We saw after Loge got hit, he really wasn't the same, was he? I wonder if that had anything to do with what took place that following half inning. And here's Yadier Molina. Runners at first and second for Molina. He's 0 for 2. He's popped out to first, also flied out to center.
Defensively, they've got him hitting the ball to right field in the outfield. One of the better Cardinal hitters, hitting behind runners. Looks like they're going to get some activity in the bullpen for the Phillies. Reyes is throwing in the Cardinals pen.
And Molina puts one foul. Another big crowd here at Busch Stadium. Just a 4-game home set.
And Scott Air.
Also J.A. Happ from the left side.
There's the one up, and as I said, Reyes, lefty, up warming up for the Cardinals.
Molina, ground ball hit to third. Go to second, safe there, and everybody is safe. Bases loaded and one out.
How about that? Watch as Ludwig doesn't want to run into an out, so he goes down, but Ankiel beats it out there. Now Utley throws behind, but Ludwig with a very good slide slides around the tag at third base. So no force out there. They try to throw behind, and Ludwig goes around the tag and safe, as everybody's safe. And you got the bases loaded, only one out. Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, out to talk to Blanton.
For a guy that has struggled this year at Joe Blanton, make sure the wheels don't come off if you're Rich Doobie.
Sure.
Put that behind you and get the outs.
And their bullpen has been very solid, so gives plenty of time for Air to get ready.
What's interesting about the Phillies and Charlie Manuel this year is you see the runners for the Cardinals. 9 of their wins came after they trailed late innings. I mean, it's unbelievable. Their first 9 wins were done when trailing, and now the Cardinals will try to return the favor here.
Well, they've become a very explosive team from the 7th inning on, the Phillies. Tyler Green got a base hit and RBI in his first game, or second game, wasn't it?
First game.
First game.
That 9th inning,
and
the
1 for 5.
hit.
The infield hit. Stole a base in that game.
And Green, the rookie, has made a dazzling play here tonight on a backhanded play to take the hit away from Carlos Ruiz, the defensive play of the night. But the big play of the night belongs to Ryan Howard in a grand slam. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Ryan Barden, scoring a double play, will pinch hit after Green.
The 2-1. Chicago, top of the 6th, leading the Giants 4-2. Reds 2-2 in their game with the Marlins. Astros trailing 9-4 to Washington. Milwaukee leads Pittsburgh 7-4 in the 9th. 2-2. Little check swing. And pitching for Kansas City tonight, Zach Greinke is not allowed to run against the White Sox. Came in with a .50 ERA. And is yet to lose, and they're in the 7th of that game in a 3-0 Royals lead. He's all but automatic to start this year.
And almost out of baseball about 3 years ago with anxiety problems.
That's why you hope that Dontrell Willis at some point would be able to make it back from his anxiety issues. You see the Cardinals with 2 grand slams. 10 for 29 in this spot.
Two grand slams are both by Albert Pujols. This could be making a statement here. He's having a pretty good at bat.
The 2-2. Outside, 3-2.
3-2, 1 out.
And now the fans come alive.
Not that much to cheer about, but they could on this pitch.
And he chased ball 4. Strikes out. And it's up to Barden with 2 outs. Let's go pitch by pitch. Bases loaded, 1 out on Tyler Green.
Nice little cutter. It's in the dirt. And another breaking ball. And it's down 3-0. And he starts battling back. Swings through 1. Check swing. Now it fouls off. There's ball 3. And then he swung at ball 4, as you said. only his third strikeout, but he got Tyler Green to chase one.
Now the bullpen has moved back to allow the pitchers to work on the two mounds out there in the bullpen. Want to remind folks, Southern Illinois AD Mario Mocha will be in town along with his football and basketball coaches. 5:30 at the Morgan Street Brewery on Wednesday night. The Saluki Caravan will make its way through St. Louis at 5:30 on Wednesday night. The time is called.
Mentioned that Brian Barton had the highest batting average and the most home runs, 3 in April amongst the rookies. 385 average. It's fallen down to 349 now.
The .238 career pinch hitter. The 1-0 pitch to Barton. Ground ball to short. Rollins underhands to the force play at second and Utley. And they can't score with the bases loaded and 1 out. It stays 6-1. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by McDonald's. Order a Big Mac extra value meal at McDonald's and get huge discounts on great seats. By AT&T, switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. And by Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at STLchevy.com. 46-year-old Jamie Moyer. Cardinals again will not see him in the series. His first start, folks, was back in 1986.
When was he? How long ago was it he was with the Cardinals?
Well, think about this, and as much as you love Bob Gibson, one more win, he's at 250. 2 more wins, 251. Bob Gibson. The MVPs and the All-Star appearances and the Cy Youngs for Bob Gibson, he'd be tied. 589 starts for Jamie Moyer. He said he probably would have retired if he stayed in Seattle because he knew it was a rebuilding project. He wanted to have a chance to win. He went to the Phillies. He said it was very tough to leave Seattle because Lou Piniella gave him his shot to really resurrect his career. Been released 4 different times as Reyes gets a strikeout. The amazing thing about him is that since his 37th birthday, Jamie Moyer has 131 wins. That is unbelievable. Here's a guy that has faced Tony Perez, who was born in the early 1940s, and Cameron Maybin, who was born in 1987. Just an incredible career.
He did win a game as a Cardinal. Bounced around, as you said, then wound up in Seattle, got a chance to performed and made the most of that. And you know, he's in this rotation of the, and was with them last year as the world champions.
When you were watching him back then, do you ever think he'd be on the cusp of 250 career wins?
Of course not.
I mean, it's just an unbelievable story.
You always looked at him and see he's on the cusp of being released. Can't be happier for a guy that battles and perseveres.
People wonder about the Hall of Fame. If he keeps going, if he pitches till 50 and puts up numbers like this, but there are guys that have 250 plus wins. Tommy John, Bert Blyleven, Jack Morris, Jim Cott, another one.
Like 280.
Right, and those guys aren't in. That's a base hit into right.
Something of his would be in the Hall of Fame if he pitched till 50, but I don't think he makes it. Which is nothing to sneeze at because he's had a brilliant career.
Yes, he has. Big blow in this game, Ryan Howard. By no means am I suggesting that he should be in the Hall of Fame. Just comparing.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you noticed a difference in Howard's body?
Yeah, I mean, it's trimmed down, still a big man, but
they say where you really can see it is with his defense and the way that he's moving side to side.
Yeah, it's got to be better, you know, on the inside pitches. Do a little quicker. A chance to talk to him, you know, in the clubhouse.
And how was he?
Well, he was, you know, you would think he was batting about 140 and on his way to the minor leagues, the way he talked. You know, got to get straightened out. He's done a pretty good job today, 2 for 2 in a walk and 2 runs scored. And I think our Hardy's prime cut would be maybe his grand slam, huh?
Well, let's take a look. This was back in the 4th inning. Excuse me, the 5th inning, his grand slam. Up and in. 2 balls and 1 strike. Milwaukee has held on over Pittsburgh 7-4. Two and two. Outfield is deep and straight away for Howard. Doesn't chase that time. You know, the strikeouts are down a little bit for Howard too.
I'm sure he's the kind of guy that gets them in bunches, but see the defensive alignment. Shortstop Green is almost playing behind the bag. A little bit different is Schumacher's not playing in short right field. There's a strikeout.
On the outside corner for the strikeout. And 2 in this inning for Dennis Reyes, and that will be it as Tony La Russa is coming out.
And Kyle McClellan is on his way in. Wanted it inside, got it outside, but he fools him.
And this will be our Chevrolet call to the bullpen. Kyle McClellan, who was to start yesterday in Washington, will come in relief. It's 6-1. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's Cal McClellan. He is the 5th Cardinal pitcher used tonight. Kyle Rose was the starter, went 4 1/3, gave up 6 runs all earned. And there are the numbers on the right-hander, Cal McClellan.
I think one thing Tony's taking advantage of is trying to get some of these guys some work, as Kyle has not pitched since last Tuesday in Atlanta. Reyes hadn't pitched since Wednesday in Atlanta. Get these guys sharpened up. Offense didn't really do much on Saturday, and not much here tonight.
Check swing and a foul tip held on to by Molina. McClellan gets the strikeout. Time to stretch at 6-1. Ryan Howard's grand slam, the difference in this game. It was a 2-1 game. Howard hit the grand slam back in the 5th, and it's now a big lead, 6-1 in favor of the Phillies. They have 2 lefties in their pen, and one of those is Scott Air. This will be his 10th appearance, ERA over 10. His opponents are hitting .231 against him. Bullpen once again outstanding this year. Early though, but been very good so far for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Hard to have that big of a ERA when you did not allow your first base run of the season until April 27th.
Right.
That was in that. That wasn't it. It was at Washington.
And Blanton will give them 6 innings tonight. And it's up to the bullpen. As you mentioned, Lidge is available. It becomes a safe situation tonight.
And the bullpen has been very good, as their starters came in with an ERA over 6.
Schumacher, a ground ball, gloved by Chase Utley to Ryan Howard. And we're underway here in the bottom of the 7th. Brings in Joe Thurston with Pujols to follow. Joe Thurston tonight, RBI double in the 3rd, also a single in the 5th. He's 2 for 3. Average back up to .297 with a 2-hit night. Very shallow in right is Jason Worth. Pretty much the entire outfield is shallow here. And the first pitch is taken for a ball outside. Zach Greinke with 9 strikeouts tonight for Kansas City. They're in the top of the 8th, and they lead it 3-0. Red Sox and the Yankees playing tonight at the new Yankee Stadium. Thurston can get a base hit here. He'll jump above 300. He'll be at 308. Just a few things going on in New York today. Boston coming through, and a new book on Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, released.
I'm sure it's very favorable.
We've heard enough about it, haven't we?
Why buy it? You already know about it.
Joe Girardi has said he's had enough. The 2-1 pitch. I would assume Joe Girardi's got to be feeling some heat.
Well, they start playing a little bit better, and that's the only thing that kind of save you in that city.
Probably feel heat before the first pitch.
Absolutely.
But when you get off to a slow start, snowballs a little bit. New York is 13-11, 3.5 games out. They had 89 wins last year, and people thought it was a terrible season. Mentioned Work was playing in, and that's over his head. The right fielder will fire it back into the infield. And Thurston, a 3-hit night. He's got 2 doubles.
You think Worth hit the second base bag? No, he hit
Thurston.
Thurston standing on it.
That's his 7th double of the season, which is just one back of Chris Duncan.
Reaching out there for it, and see how the extension as he pulls through the pitch. He got 4 doubles real quick, and the last 3 have come relatively quick too. It's the 2nd double tonight. Only the Cardinals' 5th hit, and he has 3 of them.
Minnesota over Detroit, 7-2. Liriano picked up the win for the Twins. Mentioned Milwaukee over Pittsburgh, 7-4. And the Mets over at the Atlanta Braves, 6-4. The final there. 1 out. Here's Pujols with the runner at second. A fly ball into right. Thurston will tag. Worth gets himself in position to fire in. Hits the cutoff. Rare 0-for-3 night for Pujols. And in steps Duncan. Chris Duncan tonight is 0-for-3. Over 35,000 here tonight at Busch Stadium. You talk about trying to get in position for the throw.
So he'll kind of circle it, try and get his momentum coming forward. He's got it. And a lot of times all you have to do is just get rid of the ball quickly, and that'll freeze a runner from taking an extra base.
And Duncan looks at a strike on the outside corner. You think about the outfield rotation for the Cardinals. Chris Duncan has seen a ton of at-bats this year, and probably more than he expected.
He told me that, that he's playing a lot more than he thought, but he's got his power back.
And a fastball, a mislocation, and went right down the middle, 0-2. It's probably too good. It surprised him. Get to the major leagues, you see guys, it's in, out. Not many left over the middle.
That's why it's the major leagues.
0-2 pitch to Duncan. Back to him. And Air will step and throw, and we have played 7 here in St. Louis. 6-1 Phillies. It started out well for Kyle Loge. Loge tonight for St. Louis would last 4 1/3, but he gave up 6 runs. 6 of those would be earned. The play of the game defensively, Tyler Green robbing Carlos Ruiz. Jason Worth would get the Phillies on the board. That made it 2-1. This made it 6-1. Grand slam from Ryan Howard. Jimmy Rollins knew it. So did everybody in the ballpark. No doubter over the Cardinal bullpen. What happened? There she is. 6-1 Phillies.
Got to get Ryan Franklin some work, so he will come into this game.
Now this is number 400 in his career.
Number 400. He's 7 for 7. First 10 games this season, he's been outstanding. As he struck out nearly a man, doesn't give up very many hits, doesn't give up too many walks. Opponents are only batting 114 against him.
Couple of saves in that series against Atlanta. And Ryan Franklin is officially the closer of the Cardinals. We didn't know who the closer was at the beginning of the season, and Franklin was pretty quiet about it, didn't say a word, did he?
Well, I think Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan, they had a pretty good idea that he would be the closer very quickly, and I'm sure they communicated this winter, no matter what you hear, you know, you prepare for the closer's role, and he did it the right way. Didn't say a word. He just did it with his arm.
Has not allowed a run, 7 saves and as many chances, and didn't make a big deal of it. Pretty quiet about it. I know last season he never really felt comfortable in that closer's role because he was trying to hold that spot for a good friend in Jason Isringhausen.
Yeah, I think he was comfortable in it until Jason came back, and then felt uncomfortable assuming Isringhausen's role when he was activated. You know, being the real team player that he is.
Izzy was trying to get to number 300 here in St. Louis, and a swing and a miss. And that's how we start the 8th, a swing and a miss by Raul Ibanez. So a strikeout for Franklin.
He's got the split finger, the fork ball, and it's a very good neutralizing weapon against left-handers.
How about his cut fastball? And that's something he's been throwing a lot more of.
Well, but it sets up that split, you know, the fork ball.
A little cut in that pitch. Just a matter of a little late movement. That's where you see the pop-ups and the ground balls. Just enough to make a difference. Dodgers are trying to make it 11-0 for Joe Torre and Los Angeles tonight at Dodger Stadium to start their home portion of their schedule.
It's already a franchise record, 10-0 to start the season.
Lifted out to left center field. It's well hit, and Ankiel makes the catch and runs against the wall.
Oh, he needs some help on that. They're going to get out there as quick as they can.
Oh my goodness!
Lost his balance and ran almost face first, head first into the wall. Remember, just the other day in Washington, he lost his balance and hit the back of his head into the wall.
Boy, that is scary. It's Jason LaRue from the Cardinal bullpen immediately out there. The players basically stopped playing almost and started running straight to Ricky Ankiel. He went head first into the wall, and it is quiet here at Busch Stadium.
And he's on a dead sprint.
That's Dr. Paletta, I believe, right there.
His chest breathing. He'll send the stretcher out there. You know, it makes everybody sick. But they'll send a cart out there. And even if he's fine, they will strap him down very, very tightly, secure. You see the hand moving a little bit. That's a good sign. But
in Washington, it was the other way where he was backing up and hit the back of his head and got up and was able to make a throw to first. In this case, on the dead run, head first into the base of that wall.
Talked to him on Saturday. That was the Friday night game, right?
Yes.
And talked to him, I guess, no, it was Saturday. It was the Saturday game, and I talked to him. I said, how you feeling? He goes, fine, but I won't be able to feel anything tomorrow.
I believe, yeah, that's right, because we saw him in the clubhouse afterwards. And a concerned fan base here in St. Louis. Very scary situation. So again, if you're just joining us, you just tuned in. Moments ago, Ricky Ankiel nearly came up with a fantastic play in left center field. His momentum and his speed, he was running full speed, took him into the wall face first. And since then, he has been down. A stretcher is out. Dr. George Paletta is there. Barry Weinberg, other members of the Cardinal medical staff, and obviously his teammates.
Him carefully, but I mean his knees are now bent. He just moved his arms and put them together, clasping them.
It's a 6-1 game here in the 8th. And we certainly appreciate that effort, no doubt about that.
Thompson, former Cardinal, hitting instructor for Philadelphia and St. Louis resident.
So again, if you're just joining us, this is the play Ricky Ankiel was hurt on.
You see him racing from right center, makes a catch, and then really had very little time to prepare as he ran face first right into the wall. Stumbling a little bit, losing his balance, and you can see that arms went out there, but just barely does he get any type of break and cushion this wall at all. Biller's cap is almost bent in half. See Chris Duncan trying to tell Tony La Russa what he saw. Sickening feeling for all the players, and at some point they're going to have to concentrate on finishing this game. It's the last thing anybody's thinking about, wearing a Cardinal uniform. Put him on the stretcher, so they've immobilized him. Last thing they're thinking about is trying to resume play. These umpires are in an awkward situation, but you know the Cardinals would understand if it was a Phillies player. And you know Tony La Russa has a special affinity for Rick Ankiel, and listen to the applause. Don Glennon, Barry Weinberg, the Cardinals head trainer, on the cart with Rick. I'm sure that Charlie Manuel is saying that it's not a legal catch, and I'm sure he's half-heartedly arguing that point, as he never really reached in to extract the ball, but that's secondary. So take a look. He was playing over in right center. He runs in there, loses his balance, and crashes head first. You can see really the arms were out there, but he doesn't have any protection for his face and neck as he runs right into the wall, smashes in there, and then comes back. You see the whiplash there. There's a good sign as raises the hand and shows the thumb like I'm okay.
So Colby Rasmus will take over in center field for the Cardinals, and there's one out.
I think they.
Well, they may have called that a catch.
I think
because
they called
of the transfer.
There was no transfer.
Well,
and that's I think what Charlie.
2 hands. He's coming down and comes out with the bare hand, with the throwing hand.
Well, he called it a catch, and it's a remarkable one. And I think that was Charlie was mildly arguing that point, that he didn't reach in, but that's secondary to what any of us think right now.
So 2 outs. Regardless, it's a catch. What a great play. And we just hope that he's going to be all right. And this is out to left center. Rasmus over to make the play. Thoughts right now, though, with Rick Ankiel. His 12th appearance, a record of 2-1. And ERA of 3.27. Opponents hitting .220 off him. He's had various roles for the Phillies over the years. But the umpires, I should say, have been talking about what they saw, and you could see a couple umpires mimic, reaching into the glove and coming out barehanded and making.
And I gotta be honest, I wasn't watching his hands.
Sure. And Jason Worth was having a conversation with the umpire. I mean, at this point, it's a 6-1 game, folks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the Phillies half-heartedly are arguing the point, and that's not what any of Cardinal fans or anybody's thinking about right now. Thoughts and prayers with Rick, and it's a good sign when he put his thumb up, obviously moving his extremities, and that's first and foremost what we want to pass along.
And here's Ryan Ludwig. First pitch is taken for a ball inside. So Ludwig, then Ankiel's spot, and Yadier Molina now occupying that spot. It's Colby Rasmus. 6-1, and it has gotten quiet here at the stadium.
From the Phillies standpoint, they have to be happy with Matson pitching the 8th inning. He had been closing while Lidge was unavailable. So we were told before the game that Lidge is available again, and Charlie's got Matson as his setup man, and a very good one.
1-1 pitch. Here's a ground ball hit to short. Jimmy Rollins with it and makes the play. Just watching Tony La Russa, and we've seen him over the years. Obviously, everybody in the ballpark is concerned, but almost a look of concern and just stunned. With that kind of play.
Well,
you're just so worried about Rick and what just took place.
Well, and that those two have been very concerned about Rick. Through his pitching problems, no two were more elated to see when he came back and was hitting home runs as he made the successful change from a pitcher to an offensive player and position player, and their minds are working a mile a minute right now thinking about Rick Ankiel.
There's Colby Rasmus in for Rick now. 2 balls and no strikes. Cardinals are 10-3 here at home and own a record of 17-8. That's a fly ball hit out to left. Raul Ibanez. Again, of course, your focus is on Rick Ankiel and his health and making sure he's okay. But one of the things that stands out about the play is effort in a 6-1 game.
And he was playing over in right center and ran a long ways on the dead run, makes the catch, and almost at the point of the warning track started losing his balance right after the catch.
And a grounder hit to third, and the Cardinals go quietly here in the bottom of the 8th. 9th inning rolls in. When we come back, it's 6-1.
To the ninth coming up after the game on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. We will have an update on the condition of Rick Ankiel. Pujols versus Howard. We'll compare the two stars. Plus, we'll have reaction from the Cardinal clubhouse. Rick Horton and Pat Paris standing by with that and more. Obviously, the big story, Rick Ankiel. Gentlemen, I think right now that's all anyone cares about.
I think you're right, Jim. Thank you, and we'll look forward to that in the post-game comments from Tony La Russa. Jason LaRue is in as the catcher. To be quite honest with you, Al, why is it in a 6-1 game would there even be a conversation as to whether or not that's a catch? I mean, come on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They didn't want to, but apparently the replays is the ball was in his left hand when he ran into the wall, so he did have to take it out of the glove.
And just watching the umpires have to make an explanation about it, that to me is a bit ridiculous. First pitch is a strike. Brad Thompson back in the major leagues.
Been a week
quickly
since
2 strikes.
Week since he made his 3rd start after being optioned out.
Obviously, there's a game to be played, but as Jim said, and rightfully so, your first thoughts foremost are on Rick Ankiel and his health. You just watched a player get carted off on a stretcher in a baseball game. That's back to Thompson, and he makes the catch. And there's 1 out. You wonder what's going through the minds of the players right now, and not just with the Cardinals, but I think on the other side as well. Concern certainly with Rick Ankiel. Skip Schumacher was telling me the other day, Rick Ankiel is the best athlete he's ever played with, period. The best, and they're very close. Rick saw Skip come through the system and vice versa.
He's a top-rate, prospect as a pitcher. Got up and won 11 games his rookie year, set a Cardinal franchise record. Broke Dizzy Dean's 194 strikeouts as a rookie. And then last year to hit 25 home runs in an injury-plagued season.
This is into shallow center. Rasmus makes the catch. For Colby, his natural position is center field. You might see him look a little bit more comfortable this season when he plays center as opposed to right and left.
No doubt. He's still trying to learn the nuances of playing the corner outfield spots, how the ball comes off the bat.
Shane Victorino with 2 outs. Coming up on U.S. Cellular Live, though, you'll hear from Tony and the players and get plenty of reaction.
I'm sure Tony's not going to want to be answering too many questions. He wants to find out answers himself about Rick.
I'm sure he probably wants to get showered and dressed and find out where Rick is at and go visit him.
Yes.
With many of the other players, if not the entire team, doing that. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Understanding is the ambulance just left the ballpark. And a strikeout for Brad Thompson. 3 up, 3 down. 6-1 Phillies. Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. With just the right taste, it never fills you up. The difference is drinkability. And by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. New pitcher in for the Phillies.
Chad Durbin, who really had an outstanding season last year. He ended up with a 2.87 ERA, but in his final 15 outings, he got roughed up with almost an 8-point ERA, and prior to that time, he had an ERA under 2. But 71 appearance, led the National League in innings pitched at almost 88 innings.
Tyler Green will lead it off for the Cardinals, followed by LaRue, and then Schumacher. Feels like the game is a complete afterthought now, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, if you're Tony Cox about playing a hard 9, but he'd be the first one to forgive you if you're a little distracted right now.
Tyler Green with a tremendous play. Took a base hit from Carlos Ruiz back in the 4th. A backhanded play. No hits tonight for Tyler. He came up in a key spot back in the 6th with the bases loaded, 1 out, and struck out. Swung at ball 4. And that hit him. Seen some of that in this ball game tonight.
Third batter hit. Third time a Cardinal's been hit this game. Ball just running up and in. Gets him in the midsection. Got more jersey than flesh. Jason LaRue will get his first plate appearance.
And LaRue grounds it foul. Six to 1 Phillies. The Phillies scored 2 in the 4th, 4 in the 5th. Cardinals their 1 run in the 3rd. RBI double by Joe Thurston to score Kyle Loge. Start the runner, avoid the double play. Jimmy Rollins deep in the hole. Got him. Tremendous play from Rollins.
It's a great throwing arm. The fans didn't like the call. Runner's going, so the only play Rollins has is from the holes to try and jump up and get the throw. One hops it over there. It's a bang bang play. I thought from the naked eye he got him, and I think from the replay he did too.
How about the shortstops tonight? They've come up with a couple of great plays. Here's Skip Schumacher. First pitch, a strike. Skip is grounded out. He's singled. Grounded out a couple of times and started things out for the Cardinals offensively when he struck out looking. I agree with you. I think that was the right call at first base.
I'll give you another look at it, as very close but in the glove, and see him collapse down on it before LaRue's foot touched the bag.
Runner at second base. 1 ball, 1 strike. Schumacher, a ground ball. Utley to his left. It's Schumacher by a step. Let's take a look at our player of the game. Presented by Budweiser. Budweiser, the great American lager. Ryan Howard, no surprise, 2 for 3 with a grand slam back in the 5th. Kyle Loge went 4 1/3, 6 runs, all earned, 7 hits, walked 2, struck out 4, and gave up a pair of home runs. Thurston has had a nice night. Average back up above 300. He's at 308. 2 more doubles tonight. 1 back of the team lead. And an RBI, his 13th. Ball, 1 strike.
5 hits on the night, and Thurston has 3 of them.
Two and one. And this is a fly ball out to left, and this will do it. Phillies take game 1 of the brief 2-game set, 6-1, but most of us thinking about Rickey and Keel. Post-game show coming up, 6-1 our final. It's U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live with Pat Ferris next on Fox Sports Midwest.